The warning lights flashed red across Timon's cockpit. His hands moved fast over the controls, but nothing worked. The transport ship shook hard as chunks of rock hit the hull. The meteor storm had come from nowhere, and now his ship was dying. Come on, Timon whispered. He pushed buttons and pulled levers. The engine made a terrible grinding sound. Smoke filled the small cabin. Through the window, he saw a planet getting closer. Too close. Too fast. The ship's computer spoke in a calm voice. Emergency landing required. Scanning surface. Warning. Planet classified as Death World. Hostile environment. Multiple apex predators detected. Timon laughed, but there was no humor in it. Great, just great. He had no choice. The ship was falling. He could try to control where it landed, or he could just die in space. Timon chose to fight. He always chose to fight. The ship screamed through the atmosphere. Fire covered the windows. The heat was terrible. Timon's suit systems tried to keep him cool, but sweat ran down his face. The ground rushed up at him. He saw massive trees glowing with blue and purple light. A forest that looked like something from a dream. The impact threw him forward. His safety harness cut into his chest. Metal shrieked. Glass shattered. The ship bounced once, twice, then slid through the trees. Branches as thick as buildings snapped like twigs. Finally, the ship stopped. I hung in his seat, breathing hard. Everything hurt. His left arm felt wrong. Maybe broken. Blood ran down from a cut on his forehead. But he was alive. Okay, he said to himself. Okay, you're okay. He wasn't okay. He was on a death world, his ship was wrecked, and his emergency beacon might not even work. But Timon had learned long ago that you keep moving or you die. He hit the harness release and fell to the floor. Pain shot through his arm. He bit back a scream. Slowly, carefully, he stood up. The ship's door was jammed. He kicked it once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th kick, it fell open. The air outside smelled strange. Sweet and thick, like flowers mixed with something wild. The trees around him glowed with soft light. Everything was too big. The plants, the trees, even the insects flying past. A bug the size of his hand buzzed by his head. Timon ducked. Not on Earth anymore, he muttered. He grabbed his emergency pack from the ship. Water, basic medical supplies, a knife, and a flare gun. Not much, but it was something. He used the medical kit to wrap his arm. It hurt, but he could move it a little. Timon activated his emergency beacon. A small light blinked green. Good. Maybe someone would find him. Maybe if they even looked in this sector. If they could land safely. Too many ifs? He started walking. The ship's computer had said hostile environment. That meant predators. That meant he needed to find shelter before dark. The glowing forest was beautiful, but beauty in nature usually meant danger. He walked for an hour. Maybe 2? Time felt strange here. The sky was a weird purple color, and he couldn't see any sun. Just a bright glow that came from everywhere and nowhere. That's when he heard it. Sound like rocks grinding together, deep, powerful, coming from all around him. Timon froze. His heart hammered in his chest. Slowly he reached for his knife. It felt tiny in his hand, useless. The grinding sound came again, closer, then another sound joined it. And another. They were circling him. He couldn't see them, but he could feel them, watching, waiting. Timon ran. He didn't think about it. He just ran. Branches whipped at his face. His broken arm screamed with pain. Behind him, the sounds got louder. Whatever was chasing him was fast. The ground disappeared beneath his feet. Timon fell, yelling as he dropped through darkness. He hit something hard, rolled, and kept falling, down and down into the earth. He tried to grab onto something, anything, but his hands found nothing. He landed hard on his back. All the air left his lungs. For a long moment, he couldn't breathe. Couldn't think? Just laid there, staring up at the hole far above him. Slowly, his breath came back. He gasped and coughed. Everything hurt now. Not just his arm. Everything. He was in a cave. No, not a cave. The walls were too smooth. Too round. This was carved, made, a den. Oh no, Teeman whispered. Eyes appeared in the darkness. Dozens of them. Glowing amber eyes, all staring at him. The creatures stepped into the dim light that fell through the hole above. They were massive. Each one stood taller than any human, covered in black scales that reflected the light like oil. They had long arms ending in claws, powerful legs, and heads that looked almost reptilian but with something else mixed in. Intelligence burned in those amber eyes. They surrounded him. Teeman tried to stand, but his legs wouldn't work. He could only watch as the creatures moved closer. They made that grinding sound again, talking. They were talking to each other. One of them was bigger than the rest. It pushed through the circle, and the others moved aside immediately. This one had scars across its chest and face. Old scars. Survivor scars? A leader, the big creature, stopped in front of Teeman. It tilted its head, studying him like a human might study an interesting bug. Then it reached down with one massive clawed hand. This is it, Teeman thought. This is how I die, but the creature didn't kill him. Instead, it pressed its hand against Teeman's chest. Not hard enough to hurt, but firm, claiming. The creature made a deep rumbling sound that vibrated through Teeman's bones. The other creatures went quiet. They made sounds that might have been agreement or surprise. Teeman couldn't tell. The big creature looked into Teeman's eyes. It made that rumbling sound again, and somehow, even though Teeman didn't know the language, he understood the meaning. Ours now. Not a question. A statement. A fact. The creature removed its hand and turned to the others. It made more sounds, grinding and rumbling. The pack responded. Some seemed uncertain. One made an aggressive sound, but the leader silenced it with a sharp growl. Teeman sat there, confused and terrified and completely lost. He was hurt, stranded on a death world, and now claimed by creatures that could tear him apart with their bare hands. They could have killed him. Should have killed him. He was weak, injured, and obviously not one of them, but they didn't kill him. The big creature looked back at him. Those amber eyes held something Teeman recognized. Even across species, protection, possession, the same look a human might give to something valuable. Something to be kept safe, a smaller creature approached. It sniffed at Teeman carefully, making soft chirping sounds. It was still bigger than him, but less threatening. Almost curious. It reached out and gently touched his broken arm. Teeman winced. The creature pulled back immediately, making concerned sounds. The leader rumbled something, and two of the creatures moved toward the den entrance. They brought back leaves that glowed faintly. Another creature crushed them in its claws, making a paste. Before Teeman could react, they began spreading the paste on his arm. It was cool and immediately took away some of the pain. They were helping him. Actually helping him. Teeman looked up at the hole far above, then at the creatures around him. His ship was destroyed. His beacon might not work. Help might never come. And even if it did, he was stuck in this den with apex predators who had decided he belonged to them. He should have been terrified. Part of him was. But another part, the part that had kept him alive through 100 close calls, started thinking. Started observing. Started planning. If he was going to survive this, he needed to understand these creatures. Needed to learn their rules. Needed to become part of this pack, even if he didn't fully understand what that meant. The big creature settled down nearby. Those amber eyes never leaving him, watching, guarding. Teeman took a slow breath and made a decision. He would survive this. Somehow, he always did, even if it meant becoming something he'd never been before. 3 days had passed since Teeman fell into the den. 3 days of watching, learning, and trying not to die. The creatures had a routine. They woke when the purple sky brightened. The big one, the leader that had claimed him, always woke first. It would check the den, check the pack, and then check Teeman. Every single morning, those amber eyes would study him, making sure he was still alive. Teeman had started calling the leader Hyein in his mind. He needed names for them. It helped him think. Made them feel less like monsters and more like people. Because they were people, strange, scaled, dangerous people, but people nonetheless. The second-in-command was aggressive. It watched Teeman with suspicious eyes and made low, growling sounds whenever he moved. Teeman named this one G1. G1 clearly didn't like having a weak human in the den, but there was one who was different. Smaller than the others, with brighter eyes and more curiosity. This one approached Teeman often, bringing him food and making soft sounds. Teeman called her Dayan. She reminded him of his little sister back on Earth, always curious, always trying to understand new things. The food was a problem. The creatures ate meat. Raw meat, still bloody. They brought him pieces, probably thinking he would eat like them. The first time, Teeman had almost thrown up, but he was hungry enough to try. He couldn't do it. The raw meat made him sick. He tried to mime cooking, tried to show them with gestures, fire, heat. They didn't understand so Teeman got creative. He collected rocks from the den floor, found ones that would spark. He gathered dried plant matter that the creatures had dragged in. And one night, while they slept, he made fire. The small flame scared them at first. Several creatures jumped back, making alarmed sounds. But Hyen moved forward, interested. The big leader crouched by the fire, feeling its heat. Making thoughtful sounds, Teeman cooked a piece of meat. The smell filled the den. The creatures watched, fascinated. When he ate the cooked meat, they made surprised noises. Dayan touched the fire carefully, then pulled her claw back from the heat. Fire was new to them. They'd probably seen lightning strikes, maybe forest fires, but controlled fire? Fire that helped instead of hurt? That was different. Hyen brought him more meat after that. Watched him cook it, even tried a piece of cooked meat himself. He seemed to prefer it raw, but the fact that he tried meant something. It meant respect. Communication was harder. The creatures spoke in rumbles and growls, clicks and grinding sounds. But Teeman noticed patterns. Certain sounds meant certain things. The grinding sound was a question. The low rumble was agreement. The sharp click was warning. He started copying their sounds. His human throat couldn't make the exact noises, but he tried. The first time he attempted their greeting rumble, the whole pack went silent. Then Dayan made a sound that Teeman swore was laughter, but Hyen looked pleased. The big leader made the greeting sound back, slower this time. Teaching Teeman practiced. He learned their word for food, for water, for danger, for pack. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Far above the planet, someone else was watching. Nari floated in zero gravity, her eyes locked on the screens in front of her. She'd been studying Vareth Prime for 6 months, documenting the wildlife from orbit. Her research vessel was small, meant for one person, quiet, safe. Then she detected the emergency beacon. At first, she thought it was a malfunction. Nobody came to Vareth Prime. It was classified as too dangerous. But the beacon kept pulsing. Someone was down there. Someone was alive. She'd tracked the beacon to a region filled with the creatures she'd been studying. The ones her notes called Scarl, apex predators, pack hunters. Highly intelligent but completely isolated from the greater galaxy. She couldn't get a visual on the human. The beacon placed him underground. In a den, but he was still alive. The beacon didn't show medical distress. That was impossible. Humans didn't survive in Scarl dens. They shouldn't even survive on the surface for more than a few hours, yet. This one had been down there for 3 days. Nari sent a message to the nearest human outpost. Help was coming, but it would take weeks. Maybe a month. Could the human survive that long? She had to hope so. Because watching her long-range sensors, she was seeing something impossible. Something amazing. The Scarl weren't hunting the human. They were keeping him. Protecting him. Nari recorded everything. This could change everything humanity knew about First Contact. Back in the den, Teeman's biggest challenge arrived. The pack was preparing for a hunt. He could feel it in how they moved, restless, excited, hungry. Hyen made the loud, rumbling call, and the pack responded. They were going out. G1 moved in front of the den entrance, blocking it, making it clear Teeman should stay. The aggressive second-in-command made a dismissive sound. Weak thing stays behind, but Hyen made a different sound. A sharp, commanding rumble. The pack went quiet. Hyen moved to Timon and made a gesture. Come. G1 made an angry sound. Made gestures that clearly meant Timon would slow them down. Would get hurt. Would be useless. Timon understood. They were fighting about him. About whether he was worth keeping. He stood up. His arm had healed enough that he could use it thanks to their medicine paste. He looked at G1 and made the sound he'd learned. The one that meant, I can help. G1 made a sound like a laugh, mocking. Timon felt anger rise in his chest. He'd survived a ship crash. Survived falling into a den of predators. Survived 3 days on a death world. He wasn't useless. He wasn't weak. He made the sound again, firmer. I can help. Hyen made a decision. He rumbled to the pack and moved toward the entrance. Timon followed. Dayan chirped happily and bounded after him. G1 made an angry sound but followed the pack leader. They moved through the forest in a way that was almost like dancing. Silent despite their size. Coordinated, every creature knew their place in the formation. Timon tried to keep up, but he was slow, clumsy. His human body wasn't made for this. Hyen slowed down. Adjusted the pack's pace. Keeping Timon in the middle where he'd be protected, they tracked something big. Timon could see the marks. Claw marks on trees. Broken branches. Droppings as big as his head. Whatever they were hunting was massive. The pack spread out, surrounding their prey. Timon saw it through the trees. A creature like a bear mixed with a lizard covered in thick armor plates. It was huge. Easily 3 times the size of a Scarl, the pack attacked from all sides, fast, brutal, but the creature was strong. It swung its massive head and sent one Scarl flying. Its tail whipped around and hit another. The pack was tough, but this thing was tougher. Ian watched from behind a tree. He felt useless. What could he do? He had no claws, no scales, no strength, but he had something they didn't. He had human creativity. He looked around, saw the trees, saw the vines hanging down, saw the way the ground sloped. His mind started working, planning, engineering. He ran forward, making the sound for danger to get their attention. The pack looked confused. What was the weak human doing? Timon grabbed vines and started pulling them. He made gestures. Tried to show them. Wrap around the legs. Trip it. Make it fall. Dayan understood first. She grabbed vines with her claws and started helping. Hyen watched for a moment, then rumbled commands. The pack adjusted their strategy. They drove the armored creature toward where Timon had positioned the vines. It was working. The thing was moving. Getting close. When its massive legs hit the vines, Timon and 3 Scarl pulled hard. The creature stumbled. It was only for a second, but a second was enough. The pack struck. Hyen led the attack, going for the neck. Yuan hit the legs. Others attacked from behind. The creature fought, but it was off balance, confused. It had never been hunted like this before. It fell. The pack finished it quickly. For a long moment, everyone was still. Then the pack made sounds of victory. Deep rumbles that Timon felt in his bones. Dayan bounded over to him, making happy, chirping sounds. She headbutted him gently, almost knocking him over. Even Jawan approached. The aggressive second-in-command looked at Timon with different eyes. Made a sound. Not friendly. Not yet. But respectful, acknowledging. Hyen came last. The big leader placed his hand on Timon's shoulder. Made a deep, satisfied rumble. Then pressed his clawed hand to Timon's chest again. That gesture? That claim? But this time Timon pressed his hand to Hyen's chest. He made the sound he'd learned. Pack. Hyen's eyes widened. Then the big leader made a sound Timon had never heard before. Warm, approving, almost like a purr. The pack celebrated around their kill. They made sounds that might have been names. Timon's name. His new name in their language. A sound that meant clever hunter. Timon sat down, exhausted but alive. More than alive. For the first time since crashing, he felt something other than fear. He felt like he belonged. 2 weeks had changed everything. Ian no longer felt like a prisoner. He felt like Pack. Every morning he woke with the others. He helped prepare food, using his fire to cook. He'd even started teaching some of them how to make their own flames. Dan was the best student, carefully arranging rocks and kindling like he showed her. His communication had improved too. He could make about 20 different Scarl sounds now. Not perfect, but good enough. Good enough to say danger and food and thank you. Good enough to be understood. Hyeon had started teaching him other things. How to read tracks. How to smell the wind for information. How to move quietly through the forest. Timon would never be as good as them, but he was learning. Adapting, the pack had changed around him too. They brought him things now. Strange plants they'd found. Interesting rocks. One even brought him a piece of metal from his crashed ship. They wanted to see what he would do with things. What clever ideas he would have. Tamin made tools. He used the metal to create better knives. Sharpen rocks into cutting edges. Wove vines into rope. The Scarl watched everything he did with fascination. They had claws and strength, and they'd never needed tools. But they could see the value. Ji-won had even started respecting him. The aggressive second-in-command now sought him out during hunts, wanting his clever tricks. His strategies. Timon had gone from weak thing to clever hunter. In the pack's eyes, but everything was about to change again. The warning came at dawn. A scout from the outer territory ran into the den, making urgent sounds. Timon didn't understand all of it, but he caught the important parts. Other pack. Coming here, many, the pack immediately went into action. Hyeon made sharp commands. The Scarl took positions. Ready for a fight? Timon grabbed Daeon's arm. What's happening? She made worried sounds. Pointed outside. Made a gesture that showed size. Many outsiders. Then she made a gesture Timon recognized. Fighting, war, a rival pack was coming. Coming to take their territory, within an hour they arrived. Timon watched from the den entrance as the rival Scarl surrounded their territory. There were more of them. Maybe 30 compared to Hyeon's 20. And their leader was massive. Even bigger than Hyeon, covered in fresh scars, the rival leader stepped forward. Made loud, challenging sounds. His name was Sumin, Daeon whispered to Timon. A young alpha, ambitious, dangerous. Hyeon moved to meet him. The two alphas faced each other. Sumin made mocking sounds. Pointed at Hyeon's pack. Then pointed at Timon. Even without perfect understanding, Timon knew what was being said. You keep a weak creature. You've gone soft. This territory is mine now. Hyeon snarled. Made a sound that meant never. Then he pointed at Timon. Made sounds that Timon recognized. Pack, mine, strong. Sumin made a laughing sound. Clearly, he didn't believe a tiny human could make any pack strong. That's when Timon realized something. The Scarl fought in a specific way. Direct, brutal, straightforward. Alpha against alpha. Pack against pack. Whoever was strongest won, but humans fought differently. Humans had been small and weak when they evolved. They survived by being smart. By using strategy. By fighting in ways that made strength less important. Timin moved next to Hyeon. Looked up at the big alpha. Made urgent sounds. Let me help. Use my way. Hyeon looked down at him. Those amber eyes studied him for a long moment. Then the alpha made a rumbling sound. Agreement. Trust. Tamin turned to Jiwon, to Daeon, to the others. He started making gestures. Drawing in the dirt. Showing them his plan. It took time. They didn't understand at first. This wasn't how Scarl fought, but Hyeon made a commanding sound. Listen to the clever hunter. Trust him. Sumin was getting impatient. He made challenging sounds. Fight now or give up your territory, Hyeon called back. We fight, but not here. In the Hollow Valley. Where there's space. Sumin agreed. His pack moved toward the valley. Hyeon's pack followed. Timon walked beside the alpha, his mind racing. He'd learned the territory over the past 2 weeks. The Hollow Valley had advantages. If they were smart about it, the valley was perfect. Steep sides. Narrow entrance. Thick vegetation. Sumin saw it as a proving ground. Timon saw it as a trap. He quickly whispered his plan to Hyen, showed him with gestures. The Alpha's eyes widened. Then he made that approving purr sound. He rumbled orders to the pack. The pack split up. Most stayed visible, but some moved into the vegetation, hiding, waiting, just like Timon had taught them. During hunts, some entered the valley with his pack, confident, mocking, ready to crush. Hyen in front of everyone, Hyen moved forward, made the traditional challenge. Alpha against Alpha first. The packs would fight after but Timon had taught them something new. In human wars, you don't fight fair. You fight to win. As Sumin charged at Hyen, the hidden pack members struck from the sides. Not attacking Sumin yet, that would be dishonorable, but blocking his pack, confusing them, dividing them. Sumin roared in anger. This wasn't how things were done, but there was no rule against it. Just tradition. Hyen fought differently too. Instead of meeting Sumin's charge head-on, he dodged, used the terrain, made the bigger Alpha chase him, wearing him down. Timon had shown him how smaller fighters could beat bigger ones. Speed over strength. Strategy over power. The rival pack tried to help their Alpha, but Hyen's pack kept them divided. Small groups fighting small groups. Making their numbers advantage useless, Timon stayed back, but his mind was everywhere. He watched the battle, looked for weaknesses, saw opportunities. He made sounds, guiding G1 to a better position. Warning Dan about an attacker from behind, the battle raged for an hour. Both Alphas were bleeding, tired, but Hyen had conserved his energy better, fought smarter. And Sumin was getting frustrated. Frustrated fighters make mistakes. Sumin charged wildly. Hyen sidestepped, used the move Timon had shown him, let the big Alpha's momentum carry him past, then struck at the exposed back. Sumin went down. Not dead, but beaten, exhausted, unable to continue. Hyen stood over him, made a sound. Surrender or die. For a moment, Timon thought Sumin might choose death. But the Alpha was young and ambitious, not suicidal. He made the sound of submission. The rival pack backed down immediately. Their Alpha had lost. The fight was over, but Hyen made an unexpected sound. One that surprised everyone, including his own pack. He made an offer. Join us. Learn the new ways. Or leave and keep what territory you still have. Sumin looked up, confused. This wasn't normal either. Usually the loser lost everything. Hyen pointed at Timon. Made sounds that meant human brings new ideas. Makes pack stronger. Together we could be stronger than any pack in the region. Timon held his breath. This wasn't part of his plan, but it was smart. Really smart. Hyen was thinking beyond just this fight. Thinking about the future. Sumin thought about it. Looked at Timon. Looked at how Hyen's pack had fought. Finally he made a sound. Not submission, but agreement, alliance. The two packs would share the territory, learn from each other, and learn from the human who had changed everything. That's when it happened. A younger member of Sumin's pack, angry about the loss, charged at Timon. Maybe to prove humans were weak. Maybe just out of rage. It didn't matter. Timon saw the attack coming. He was faster than a Scarl over short distances. He dodged, but the attacker was big and angry. Its claw caught Timon's side. Pain exploded through him. He fell. Everything happened at once. Dan screamed and threw herself at the attacker. Duan was right behind her. Hyen roared, a sound so loud it echoed off the valley walls. Even Sumin turned on his own pack member, furious at the dishonorable attack. The attacker was driven back, punished, removed from the pack. But Timon was hurt, bad. He could feel blood running down his side. His vision blurred. Hyen was there immediately. The big Alpha made panicked sounds. Gentle for the first time, he carefully picked Timon up, cradled him like something precious. Dan was crying, making sad, chirping sounds. Jiwan looked furious. The whole pack surrounded them, protecting their clever hunter as they rushed back to the den. Timon tried to stay conscious, tried to tell them he'd be okay, but the words wouldn't come. The world was going dark. The last thing he saw was Hyun's amber eyes, worried, caring, the eyes of someone who just watched their pack member get hurt. Not property. Not claimed thing, pack, family. Timon let the darkness take him. Far above the planet, Nari's ship detected something new. Another ship. A human ship, big, military. The rescue mission had arrived, but they were coming in armed and ready for hostiles. They'd received her reports about the Skarl, about the apex predators. They were coming to extract one of their own from a death world. They were coming in hot? Nari immediately sent a message. Wait, you don't understand? The Skarl aren't hostile. The human is integrated. This is a first contact situation. The response came back. Acknowledge. But we're extracting our pilot. Prepare for descent. Nari looked at her screens. At the data showing the Skarl caring for the injured human. At the evidence of cooperation and communication. This could go very wrong very quickly. She opened a channel to the military ship. Commander Minho, please listen to me. If you go in aggressively, the Skarl will defend their pack member. They've claimed him. They'll fight to keep him. There was a pause. Then Minho's voice came through. Did you say they claimed him? Yes, but not as a prisoner. As family. It's complicated, please. Let me explain before you land. Another pause. You have 10 minutes. Nari started talking fast, hoping it would be enough. Hoping they would understand. Hoping this wouldn't end in bloodshed. On the surface, in the den, Timon woke up. His side hurt terribly, but the medicine paste was already on the wound. Dayan sat beside him, making soft, concerned sounds. Hyen was there too. The Alpha placed his hand on Timon's chest. That gesture again? But gentler now? Timon pressed his hand to Hyen's chest. Pack, he whispered in their language. Hyen made a deep, satisfied rumble. Outside, neither of them knew what was coming. Human ships. Armed soldiers. A rescue mission that might turn into a war. Everything Timon had built was about to be tested in a way he never imagined. Timon translated. Hyen considered this. Then he made a decision. He turned and rumbled commands. The pack relaxed their defensive positions, not fully, but enough to show good faith. Hyen gestured toward the den, made inviting sounds. He's inviting you to the den, Timon said. To see where I live, to verify I'm being treated well. It could be a trap, one soldier warned. It's not, Timon said firmly. This is a huge gesture, showing outsiders your den. It's like inviting you into your home. It's trust. Nari stepped forward eagerly. Commander, please, this is a historic moment. First contact with a new species. We can't waste it. Minho looked at his team. At the Skarl, at Timon, being supported by the alien called Dayan, he made a decision. We'll go. But weapons stay ready. And if anything goes wrong, nothing will go wrong, Timon interrupted. Just follow pack protocol. Don't make sudden moves. Don't challenge Hyen. Show respect. The group moved through the forest, Skarl and humans together. Wary but curious. Both sides studying each other, learning. Nari walked beside Timon. Your Skarl communication is impressive. And that one helping you walk. She's protective of you. Her name's Dayan. She was the first to accept me. She's like a little sister. You've given them names? They have their own names in their language, but yes, I use human names to think of them. It helps? They reached the den. The soldiers hesitated at the entrance. Going underground with apex predators went against every survival instinct. But Hyen entered first, showing it was safe. Timon followed. Then Dayan, then, slowly, the humans. The den was incredible. Carved chambers, sleeping areas, a central gathering space. Organized. Sophisticated, not the lair of mindless beasts. This is amazing, Nari whispered. She pulled out a scanner. The architecture, the social organization. Commander, this is definitely a sapient species. They have culture, society, rules. Hyen brought meat, offered it to Minho, a gesture of hospitality. Minho looked at Tingmin. Is it safe? I can't eat it raw. But watch. Tingmin took the meat, made a fire using the method he'd taught the pack, cooked the meat, then offered pieces to both Hyen and Minho. Both leaders ate, a shared meal. The most basic form of trust? The tension started to ease. Soldiers lowered weapons slightly. Scarl stopped making threatening sounds. Young pack members, like Dayan, started approaching the humans curiously. Nari was documenting everything. This changes everything. Humans and Scarl. Working together? Living together? Do you know what this means? Timan smiled despite the pain in his side. It means we're not alone anymore, either species. We've both found something new, partners, friends, pack, Hyen rumbled, pressed his hand to Timan's shoulder. The gesture everyone now understood. Mine, ours, pack, Minho watched this. Finally, he spoke. We'll need to establish protocols for future contact, for relations between our species. Yes, Timan agreed, but not extraction. Not removal? I stay here, as ambassador, as bridge. That's not standard procedure. Nothing about this is standard, Timan countered. We have a chance to do first contact right. To build an actual relationship, not just observe from orbit. Not just take samples and leave. Real friendship between species. Minho looked around the den. At the Scarl watching them. At the humans watching the Scarl. At the miracle of two species communicating despite every difference. I'll need to send this up the chain, he said finally. But I think you might be right. Hyen made a rumbling sound, questioning. He's agreeing, Timan translated. That I stay. That humans and Scarl learn together. Hyen made an approving sound. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He pressed his hand to Minho's chest, not claiming. Not possessing, offering respect, Minho hesitated. Then he pressed his hand to Hyen's chest. Two leaders, two species, making contact. Making peace. Nari captured it on her scanner. Historic, she breathed. Absolutely historic. But outside the den, watching from the forest, something else was watching too. Sensors scanning. Recording, learning, another species. One that had been observing both humans and Scarl for weeks. One that saw opportunity in this new alliance. One that saw weakness to exploit. The real test was coming. Soon.